Hello, in today's video I'm going to be covering some information on Acronis True Image 2017 recovery process. Sorry first of all if the video does shake, but I am using my phone camera, so I'm trying to keep it as steady as I can. The purpose of doing this video is just for my channel. My system's working completely fine, but I just want to show all of you how to recover your system correctly using the Acronis software in case you get any system problems. Now there is two recommendations though by Acronis themselves in order to make sure your recovery is successful. They first of all advise to come into the software, which I'm currently in now, and go to that green tick in the middle and just see if it says the backup is valid. If it is, then the last thing they recommend you do is go over to your backup on the left hand side, click on the little arrow and choose validate, which is the third one down. Because that will then check over your backup and make sure that your backup is okay to restore your system. Because once a long time ago I was recovering my system using Acronis True Image 2015, I think it was, and my backup recovery failed on 100%. So because obviously it failed, I then had to reinstall the whole system again because the backup failed while it was doing the recovery. So that's why they advise you to do these two steps I've just showed you in the video. And the last step to do is to create a bootable media, and you can do this two ways. You can burn the software which you need to boot off to do the recovery, either on a DVD disc or a USB pen drive. And where you do that is you come into the software, you go over to tools on the left hand side, and then you choose Rescue Media Builder, and in there you can make a DVD, like I said, or a USB pen drive. The universal restore option, that is used if you want to use your recovery image on a new PC, if you've built a new PC, and I've detailed about universal restore under the Acronis True Image 2017 info video. Okay, so now I'm going to reboot my PC to boot off the disk. I go into the BIOS myself and boot off the disk that way, but if your PC or laptop has got a quick boot option, you can use that. Right, so as you can see now, I've come into my BIOS. Each BIOS, depending on your manufacturer of your motherboard, is different. If your BIOS looks exactly the same as mine, and you do choose to boot off the disk this way, if you haven't got a quick boot sequence option, then you can follow this bit, or you can just ignore it. You have got a boot menu option in my BIOS as well, which is an F8, but I always do it under the advanced options. Okay, so I'm now just going to load the DVD into the drive. Okay, and now I'm just about to boot off the disk. Right, the first thing you're going to see is the word starting Acronis loader. Right, now if you see all this information come up, don't worry about it. It's just part of the loader. It never used to come up, but it's all to do with the new software. So once your DVD driver stops spinning, if you are using a DVD, then you can just press enter. Okay, and you'll see this Acronis interface come up now, and that's just loading all the software. Okay, and now this is the recovery window you use to start the recovery of your system. Okay, so I'm going to run through the options on the left hand side first of all, just to show you exactly what's in there. On the home screen, obviously you can back up your drives, and you can also recover your drives from here. The backup one obviously does what it says. You can back up your system. Recovery, you can recover your system in here, but I choose to do it from the main screen itself. The logs, if you perform anything on your system, all the logs are saved in here. And then lastly, under the tools and utilities, you've got the Acronis Startup Recovery Manager if your system's having problems loading up. You got the Manage Acronis Secure Zone, Clone Disk, so if you want to copy over the system and that to another drive and have a clone of that, that's where you would go. The Add New Disk option is if you've blanked your drive and it's got no partition on it, then you go into there. And so if you was recovering to a brand new hard drive, you would have to go into Add New Disk and create a partition in there. And then the Acronis Drive Cleaner, that option is used if you want to fully blank your hard drive and wipe all the data off it. Okay, so I'm now going to go back into the home part, and to start the recovery process. And if my thumb did appear, well, my finger appear in the video slightly earlier, then sorry about that. I was just trying to get comfortable holding the phone. So when you come to this screen, if you click on recover my disks under this bit here, right, you will then see this window come up, what says Recovery Wizard. Now on this bit you need to browse for the backup image you want to use to recover your system. So if you click on browse in the right hand corner, takes a few seconds to come up because obviously it's got to scan your system. You will see all your drive letters in the order you've selected the drive letters on your system. So my backups are stored under my L drive, and then I choose Windows Backup because that's where I store them. And currently, as you can see, I've got two backups here. I've got the B1 S1 and then the B2 S1, which are both full backups. I use a backup option on Windows, which is a differential backup. So if you do use the same backup methods as myself, you can restore your system using a differential backup, and it will still recover your system completely fine. If it does need any information from one of the big backups, then it will go back to it and find that relevant information automatically. And one other thing, the date is slightly different under here compared to Windows. As you can see, on the date you've got the month, the day, and then the year. So it is slightly different, so you do have to bear that in mind when choosing a backup if you've got loads of them on the list. Okay, so I'm going to choose my first backup because there's not much difference between the two dates, and I know that my system didn't make many changes. So once you're happy with the selection, you go down and choose the OK button. Okay, so once you then get to this screen, it shows you the backup you have chose to recover your system with and the time the backup was made. So once you're on this screen, before you click on next, do click it again just to highlight it blue, and then go down and click on the next button. Okay, now the next screen you will get two options to recover your system. You will get recover whole disks and partitions. So if you want to recover your whole system, you choose the top option. If you just want to recover some files and folders, you choose the second option. So say on your Windows system you had some corrupted files and you wanted to get them back, you could come into here and choose the recover chosen files and folders, select the file which has got corrupted on your C drive, and then get it replaced. That's what that is used for. Okay, so in my case for this video, I'm clicking on recover whole disks and partitions, and then I'm clicking on next. Okay, now this screen is the very important part. You've got to make sure that you choose all 3 of them boxes there. If you don't, your system will not recover correctly and will not load back into Windows, because the top one, NTFS unlabeled C, is your operating system. The MBR is the table of your hard drive. It makes when you make a partition. And the NTFS system reserved is what is made when installing Windows, which has got some files in there in order for Windows to boot up correctly. So in order to choose all 3 of them boxes, the easiest option is just to go up to where it says disk 1 in the top left hand corner and click inside that. And as you can then see, it highlights all 3 boxes. I'm just going to zoom that in so you can see it. Okay, so obviously once all 3 boxes are selected, you can then click on the next button to proceed. Okay, so I'm now going to click next, and what this step will now do is it will scan the backup you have chose to recover from and check that everything is intact. So depending on the size of the backup file, it can take a few minutes to scan. So while I wait for the next screen to come up, because this can take a while, because my backup is quite big, I will just pause the video briefly. Okay, so on this screen you've got to choose where you want the recovery to go to. So in my case, the recovery has got to go to my SSD drive, and as you can see below, it tells me the recovery system reserved and the C drive. This is basically my operating system, and that is the system reserve partition. So if you want to use the same drive which Windows was currently on, you just select that drive, and when you click on next, it will prompt you to say that all the data will be deleted on the drive, and you have to click on OK to that message so your recovery can go ahead and recover your system. Okay, so I've now selected the drive I want to use, which is the Samsung SSD 850, and then I'll go down and click on the next button. And this is the message I was talking about. It's just basically saying that obviously the drive contains some software and files on it. So all you do is you click on the OK button. Okay, so on this next screen, it will give you a summary breakdown of the operations it will perform, your hard drive you selected, and a few other information. Now you don't need to click on options at the bottom. All you need to do is click on the word proceed, and then this window here is where the recovery has now started. Now you don't need to click on restart the computer when operation is completed, or shut down the computer when the operation is completed. You can do if you wish, but the best thing to do is wait for the backup to finish, click on the OK button when it says the recovery has been succeeded, and then remove the USB or the DVD and then close the software in order for it to go back into Windows. Okay, and I will show you that step once the recovery has finished. I'm going to pause the video now while the recovery happens, and I will resume it towards the end. Right, as you can now see, my recovery has almost finished. Depending on the size of the backup though, it can take between 10 minutes or less, or sometimes more, just depending on how much data you're recovering. Because on the drive list, when I chose to recover my C drive, if you've also backed up one of your other drives inside your backup image, they will also appear as well in the drive selection window when it asks you what you want to recover. Okay, so now when you see this message what says recover operation succeeded, that means the recovery has been 100% successful. So you can now click on the OK button. Then once you've come back to this window, go up to the X button. First of all, remove the disk or USB. And sorry if you do hear a very loud noise, I live right next to a freight line. Okay, so once you've removed the USB or the disk, you then click on the X button. And now your system will start rebooting. And there you go, now I'm back onto the lock screen. One thing to note, when you've done a recovery and your system is going to load in, please bear with it, because it will take slightly longer for everything to load in and for your computer light to start flashing, just because obviously of the massive process you've just undertaken. I'm just literally now waiting for my computer light to stop flickering before I load into Windows itself. I mean, if it only flickers a little bit, like on and off, like mine's doing now, then obviously you're now okay to log into Windows. Okay, and there you go. I'm now back on Windows, and as you can see, all my desktop icons and taskbar icons are back. Okay, so I hope this video has gave you some useful information. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up to support my channel. And if you've got any questions, please ask in the comments below, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And please subscribe to my channel for more videos. Okay, thank you for watching, and thank you all for your time. Goodbye.